Hey guys, I'm here with Fred G from Libercast, and today we have an extra special chat because we're going to be talking to Fred today about liberty, freedom, and truth. But we have two very special guests that are going to come in at the very middle of the show after Fred and I have a little bit of a chat. And we will be asking questions and answers. If you guys want to have a bit of a Q&A at the end, we can do that as well. But first, Fred, I wanted to say I am so excited to have this chat with you. I'm so glad that you tagged and said that you'd like to have a chat because, to be honest, I've been on the road for the last 18 months. Haven't really checked in with who's doing what. But when I went to your website and I went to your Libercast, I was so happy to hear you talk, but to also hear my new friend Derek talk and a couple of other guys that I've been contacting with. And it's like I opened up Pandora's box with truthers. And it's so funny. I'm supposed to be launching two shows since being settled. And both of those shows have kind of not blown up in my face, but have kind of gone in a wrong direction. And what's going in the right direction is talking to the men and the people like you about freedom and about how to get out of this enslavement that we find ourselves in. So I'm really excited for this topic, and I'm excited to have this chat with you. And I'm going to throw it over to you to say hello and to talk about what you think about. I don't even know what the word liberty means, to be honest. So maybe we can start with, what does liberty mean? And how did you get into the liberty movement and start Libercast?
My name is Fred Gingras. I'm a French Canadian, resides in Quebec. Uh, my podcast is called the Libercast. Means freedom and books and reading. That's why I chose this name. I chose this name for this reason. Quickly, I stumbled upon the work of many men and women during my life because I was searching for something. I was looking for solutions for my betterment, and uh, I had this uh, hungry uh, search for truth, and I had the chance of stumbling upon David Icke and Michael Tessarians
Mhm.
and many more. And one day I stumbled upon Mark Passio's work.
Mhm.
Um, the His work is invaluable, is life changing, and I'm living proof of that.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things. I mean, there's so much to cover. We don't have much time.
Mhm.
So, on my part, this is what I'm doing with the Libercast. This is my great work, and I have the chance and honor for being part of the One Great Work Network.com. It's an incredible network of people with incredible knowledge and invaluable knowledge that everybody should, where you should all go there and start from the beginning. And if I had a suggestion to where to begin, uh, Mark Passio's presentation on natural law, and then Mark Passio's podcast, starting from episode one.
Mhm.
There's things that must be understood and knowledge to be acquired before looking into freedom and sovereignty. So there's basic fundamental knowledge that must be explored and understood, and it's not an easy task. There's so much things that are implicated in that: shadow working, introspection, deep introspection, and self-responsibility, self-awareness. And this is what I try to do with the Laborcast, is taking people and get them back to their roots. So it's an introspective work. I'm still learning.
Mhm.
I'm still doing it, and I'm not gonna be stopping anytime soon.
Mhm.
So this is an ongoing work for everyone who are implicated in it. And before I'm we're getting into the conversation, I just want to say to people, get involved.
Yes. Yes.
We need more people who are
Mhm.
doing the work.
Mhm.
And sure, you're gonna have to do sacrifice, you're gonna have to compromise, but this is the way life is made of, is made of sacrifice, and you're gonna have to take from your time and get involved. There's many ways to do it. You have podcasts like what you were doing now, and the Libercast, and many more, but it's not an obligation to do a podcast. You can write books for children, you can dance, like Dorian Sarrazin, who's wonderful dancer, by the way. She's awesome. The video she made for I don't remember the one, but I had her after, and it was an incredible conversation. So there's plenty of stuff, and the Libercast is bilingual, means that I cover French and English.
Great.
So for the people who understand French, the ball is in your camp, essentially.
Mm. Wow, those are music to my ears, Fred. I did not know that you were going to say any of that. I did not know who you were connected to. Mark Passio is one of my top teachers. I have seen that seminar at least 9 times. And every single time I hear it, I hear something new. And it makes me feel so good that video of 9 hours long is 10 years old. And so many people have, well, not more people can watch it, but so many people have complimented him on how great that video is and how everybody must understand these concepts. It aligns and it rings so true. Every single moment that goes through the video, it just gets more expansive. And just in addition to what you have said about introspective and really taking the time to understand these concepts, first of all, everyone needs to sit in silence. Everyone needs to think about what it is that Mark is saying and what we're saying. But we also have to practice this. We have to take action, we have to live life, and we have to do the work. Instead of just talking about it, we have to do it. And that's where the alchemy happens. And that's in the shift in consciousness. And that's when you're battling your ego and your fear. But then you break through it, and it's almost like a brand new reality exists, one that I've never felt before. Being an anarchist took a snap of a finger and over a second decision to become an anarchist, which was an amazing experience. But then to drive without my license and registration, and to talk about my rights when I'm being pulled over. I mean, there's a liberty that comes, a freedom that comes from standing in your natural rights of just living peacefully here on the planet. And all of my worries went away when I became an anarchist. And I have made the best friends. And the smartest, best looking people are anarchists who are following natural law and who are doing the great work. So
There's sure, we're pointing out a lot of dark corners, in our work. And in my opinion, in my humble opinion, you cannot see the light if you cannot look into the darkness of things. This is how I began my work. It's confronting my own darkness, and confronting the darkness from the external world, and being very honest about it, and stop lying to yourself. And this is the first thing. I think that the most important thing is stop lying to yourself. And the ignorance part is, and the ignorance and the cultural indoctrination, the cultural programming are very hard to get rid of. So they're imprinted in our minds, they're imprinted in our bodies, and we have to clean the temple. This is what we have to do as great workers. And you cannot help anyone if you cannot help yourself. It is a fallacy Some people are pretending to do it, and there's a lot of people who are talking out of their butts. But I mean, if you didn't start the shadow work, you're not awake, you're not aware, you're not actually doing something right in the freedom movement. I mean, the freedom movement as such is broken beyond belief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so because why? Because people are broken. And this is what we try to do. It's get back to the roots of knowledge and with the occult, and get uh, give back people solutions, tangible solutions that they can apply in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Something else I think we all must do, which I love Mark for doing this: get mad, get
Yeah.
sad, get angry. I mean, when I was first listening to Mark, the righteous anger that I had at that moment, oh my gosh, I was so angry with something that was going on in my life, an injustice so deep, core injustices that are happening here on the planet were actually happening to me firsthand. And when I was listening to Mark, I'm like, yes, you go. It was so inspiring to hear a man step into his righteous anger and yell down the camera and have no cares about what people think about what he's talking about. And I mean, I've shared his video to so many people, and the ones that go, I don't like the way he talks, and he doesn't he's not the only guy that knows the truth. Or there's so many like comments that I can get back from. I'm just like, you know,
Yeah.
I see a valuable person. I know when I see a valuable person, and anybody that's connected to Mark's network, like there's Logan, there's Derek, all these great people. They're paving the way for a brand new consciousness, and it's easy to do when we're in a bigger group of people, which is why I loved at the very beginning you were saying get involved, because this is where the party's at.
Yeah, and for people who cannot stand uh, 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 righteous anger, well, it's not our problem. You know, you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. And I'm gonna repeat what I said on the Libercast. I'm not I'm not looking for followers. I want people who are responsible adults. They're mature. They're smart. Emotional intelligence. And this is what we're trying to do. Is yes, sure, we're outreaching. We're talking to people who don't know about it. Sure, but essentially, what we're doing is looking for people who want to do the work. And yeah, I mean, I can get angry myself. I'm getting passionate on my podcast, and I'm not regretting anything. I'm not coming back on my words. What it has to be said has to be said. And catharsis, anger, righteous anger are necessary. If we didn't need to be angry, we wouldn't feel it. But essentially, in this world that we're living in, we're living into uh, 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 deceptions and lies. So truth in a world of lies is the destructive thing.
And when you get angry, it's kind of like when I'm sick right now. I'm kind of sick and there's a bit of a cough, but that's the anger. And then for me, I became a poet in 2019. I mean, I don't know where all this creative energy came from, but I'm now using that anger and that emotion of sadness to write and to do edits. And that is where everyone needs to align themselves with. I call this your secret sauce, when you've tapped into what it is that you're so good at. And when you're aligned with source, using that emotion of anger, of sadness, we've got to transmute these. It's the only way to get the gunk out of our souls, is to spread the God sent, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's singing or writing poems. So, that to me has always been a guide for whenever I'm feeling angry. I just do something creative, and I'm so proud of whatever it is that I create. And then the anger goes away, and I become lighter and more focused and more connected to the higher
Anger
realm.
can be a catalyst for action.
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, there are some people will like go, hide in somewhere, in the dark corners, and they're keep on ignoring pain and suffering from our brothers and sisters of every plan. And when I'm talking about every plan, I'm talking about the kingdom of animals at the same time. So I'm keep on coming back to that because I think it's cognitive dissonance.
Mm. Mm.
Um, People say they want freedom, they want to have a good life and things, and we're not gonna have it, people. We're not
Mm.
gonna have it until people are really educated in a way that it's going to be constructive and based on having solid foundation based on natural law and the occult as
Mhm.
such. And it's important to stay impartial and being neutral in that, and very be keep a objective stance on this information, not getting too enthralled in them,
Mhm.
and because there's so many traps that we can get
Mhm.
caught into. And when I'm talking about those, I'm thinking about the New Age religion, the New Age cults. They're
Uh-huh.
very insidious, and now they're everywhere in every aspect of
Yes.
the spiritual community. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
confronting. There's a lot of conflicts to come when it
Yeah.
comes to truth telling and this kind of research. But we have to push
Yeah.
and yeah, sure, we're gonna people push people out of their comfort zone for sure.
Yeah.
This is what I do for myself too,
Yeah.
so
And you're going to get backlashed for that as well. I have a lot of haters, but I'm like Marmite. You either love me or you hate me. And people that are loving me, they're evolving and expanding. And yeah, for the people who hate me, oh, well, you'll be dead soon. So just joking. Listen, you said, the path to freedom is transmuting that anger. I'd love, if this is okay, to bring on both Stephen and Derek, because another path to freedom is doing simple ideas, one that Stephen has, that I just think if we can become all aligned with the work that we're doing with you in your mindset for liberty and freedom, and then we got the master SteVAN, who's got this wonderful idea for the 3D realm of removing our authority to obtain the mental freedom. I just think the more we talk about it and the more we do these little steps, it's going to snowball into something magnificent. So, without further ado, Fred, let's bring the guys on. And that was such a wonderful chat.
May we? Hey, how's it going, Stephen?
Good to see you again, Derek.
Thanks again for having us on. Really appreciate you creating this wonderful space, for the right intentions. Yeah. Freedom under natural law. Yeah. You might have seen Dorian dance in that conference 2 years ago. I was involved in last year's, and yeah.
Here we go.
I'm not going to plug in all that shit, but yeah.
Oh, Derek, you guys, I feel so lucky to be around the three of you. And there's so many more people we could bring on. But step one is really to introduce Stephen and Fred. Do you guys know each other?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
didn't know.
I've heard you talk, Fred.
Yeah,
Yes.
I stumbled upon, when I saw your live, I watched it. This is the first time I saw Stephen.
Great.
Yeah, and I like a lot of what you had to said there earlier. It's so much of it starts in the mind, and
Sure.
but it's got to go beyond that, because if it just stays in the mind, then it doesn't develop into action. And it's really a shame, because a lot of this stuff that we're just now learning as adults, as we wake up, are things that we should have been teaching children, or that we should have learned as children. Because if we can get one generation of children into a liberty mindset, then tyranny's eradicated. That's all it takes. It's just that one generation of people understanding sovereignty and understanding the responsibility that comes with that. You know, most people don't want freedom because it means responsibility. But when you unlock the code, when you understand that taking responsibility for your life creates life satisfaction, and that's your antidote to depression, to anxiety, to all the things that ail people in today's world. You know, it's like we may have some of the more comforts than most of humanity, but I think we have a much lower average life satisfaction rate, and it's because people aren't taking the responsibility of their own life. That's the root of our problem. We defer all of our responsibility, right? People don't manage their own retirement. They defer that onto whatever 401 company money comes out of their paycheck and goes to. They don't manage their own health. They defer it to the doctor. They don't educate their own children. They defer it to the government. And the results have been disastrous. So it's so great to see so many other people that are understanding this and going, hey, what can we do now? You know, because a lot of the content I've consumed over the years has been people explaining these concepts, and they've really resonated with me. But I got to the point to where it was like, I believe all this, so why am I still giving away the authority of my own life? Why am I still deferring all my responsibility over to somebody else? And the answer was because I was afraid of the sacrifice that might have to be made if I stood up. But once you overcome that fear, then it becomes a lot easier to stand up. And the more of us that are standing, the more of us that will stand.
Are you talking about being in alliance through governmental defiance with that, you know, non-compliance and all that shit? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Wow.
Yeah,
Are
well,
you going to bust it out, Derek? You can't just stop it there.
I'm only good for a few liners, but yeah, I don't know. I thought you were going to keep going on, Steven, and I'm sure, Sheena, you wanted to say something as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to hog everything up.
Well, Derek, can I just get your feedback with what Fred was saying? I mean, I know you guys know each other, but I've never had you guys both on the camera, so.
Yeah, brother man. Going back with what you both were talking about in regards to anger, you know, I was on the Libercast honorably a couple times, and one time one-on-one with Fred, and we talked about, you know, kind of the stuff on my, you know, moniker there, AwakenYaMind, and it was called Alchemized Artistry. And that goes hand in hand as far as, you know, what you were talking about, your wonderful story and how you cultivated that secret sauce and became the real boss and sovereign of yourself, and being able to wield your magic, if you will. And that kind of involves, yeah, that alchemized anger and going through the real process, not just, you know, throwing it out like it sounds cool and yeah, I'm spiritual now. I'm an alchemist. Hey, no, it actually, people have usually hit fucking rock bottom to truly fucking understand this shit and go through the arduous process over and over and over and over again. You know, this is science of life, natural law. This is all these things that we need to align through and deal with the shadow work and all these things, healing from trauma and rebuilding ourselves up to have that, you know, temple, if you will, with the pillars of enlightenment properly there to be the sovereign king on your throne, right? That internal monarchy, so we can have, you know, the proper action with the proper responsibility behind all that. So yeah, definitely feel you on what you were talking about before. And yeah, Steven, it was great to chat with you last video. And I didn't get to mention it, but, you know, you're going to go over it again. But yeah, as far as, you know, alluding to the non-compliance stuff, it kind of falls in line with what you were speaking about. And then another way people have worded this is like starving the beast. You know, there's other ways we can, you know, work different currencies. I know folks, Fred, I was talking to Glenn Tram on the network just the other day, and he's talking about, yeah, looking to make new, you know, cryptocurrencies and all that stuff. And I know, like, everyone's got their idea on crypto, but hey, like, at least people are acting and moving towards something that's, you know, not feeding into the fucking, you know, systems of domination and control, divide and conquer. So yeah, I'm down to find more unity to really create a proper fucking community. And yeah.
I love that your secret sauce is rhyming. I didn't know that, Derek. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So without further ado, SteVAN, I mean, I know you've now said your idea 3 times on my podcast, but the more we talk about it, the more we're manifesting it, and the more
Yeah.
people are going to learn about it. We still have another 6 months, so we may as well get really good at what this concept is and why do we need this concept. And the more people we can get behind you, SteVAN, and the more people that can find this as a trendy thing and it's not fearful or rebellious, we're just being peaceful, aren't we? Throwing it over to you. Thanks.
Yeah, that's right. I saw a quote one time, and I don't even remember who it was that said it, but the quote was, if you want to live outside the law, you have to be honest. And that one really worked its way into my subconscious for a while. And it's like, yeah, if I want to starve the beast, as Derek's saying, it's not about going out and fighting. It's not about being violent or anything of that nature. It's really about just ignoring it out of existence. Right. And the way I'm able to stay outside the law is the fact that I'm interacting with people in the way that we're supposed to, based on the natural laws of human interaction. Right. That's where kind of this idea came. I got off on a little bit of a tangent there. Sorry. So here, let's get to the idea. So the idea is basically this: on November 5th, 2024, here in America, it's the next election. And then obviously in the UK, it's Guy Fawkes Day there. But what we do is we go to our cars and we take our license plates off. And we do this in mass, and we do this as a big show, because on that day, when you go out and you start driving around and you see a lot of other people without license plates on, then that's going to be the statement of unity. That's going to be this obvious statement that we're no longer complying. And it's very important that we send that message to the rest of the population, but it's also very important that the politicians see this, because there's nothing like decentralized noncompliance that will send shivers down their spine. Right. Every politician in the world is afraid of this idea, because one of two things, at least here in America, one of two things will happen. One, we do this in such mass numbers on the day, nobody gets pulled over. They won't even want to touch it, because there's only in America, there's only 700,000 full-time police officers, 700,000 for the entire nation of 300 million people. Right. So if we started with 7 million people taking their license plates off on November 5th, we outnumber the police 10-1. And then there's going to be a portion of the police officers who don't even want to pull us over, because they know inside that that they work for a beast system. They know that their good intentions have been hijacked, and they know that what we're doing is righteous, and that what we're doing is exercising our rights, the rights they swore to protect. So we'll outnumber full-time officers 10-1, but then it'll even be a greater outnumbering than that, because there's not going to be as many cops that are going to want to pull us over. And so when the people learn that if we move in unison, peacefully, decentralized, they have no power. They're all bark and no bite. Right. So if they do start ticketing people, and the people that do get tickets, the idea is you just don't go to court. You can send them a letter and say, hey, I'm not going to be there, or just don't show up. It doesn't matter. But when all of a sudden we don't have license plates and traffic court is emptied out, we've choked out a big chunk of their revenue stream. And that's starving the beast, is attacking their supply lines. And their supply lines is the court system, because the court system is where government's practice, the religion, the cult of government is practiced in the courts. And if we empty those out, it loses its power. Because you can't go after the government directly, because the government's just an idea. All you can do is go after people that represent the government. So if you want to attack the idea, you have to stop participating with it. There's all these paths to. Oh, go ahead, Sheena.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but can you hone in again on how the legal process of you can't go to jail. This is the most peaceful way, without a big slap on the wrist, because they can't arrest you. You can't go to jail. And in theory, if we wanted to exercise our rights to not travel around with a driver's license, their next move would be to take licenses off your car. I mean, that's happened to me. That's happened to you. So this is a bit of an art of war scenario where we're going to do that before they get to do that for us. And if we do this en masse, then that power, they have nowhere to go if we adopt this strategy. So yeah, can you hone in a little bit more on the legalities of driving around without your license and how we're allowed to do that?
Yeah, so we're allowed to do it because legality is just made up, and
Yeah.
legality is inferior to morality. And we all know that that you have the right to get from here to there using as the common way, right? One thing people don't talk enough about is that we have this inherent right to utilize the technology of the world in which we were born into. And so if that means getting in a car and driving down a road, then that's completely okay. Now, to protect ourselves from the legalities, because a lot of people do believe in legalities and they believe that legality is superior to the morality. And the way we do that is through the mechanism of jury nullification. And so jury nullification, a lot of people don't understand this. When you go into a courtroom, you've got the judge and you got the attorneys who are all well versed in the law. I mean, they went to law school, they study law, that's their job. And then you have the jury in a courtroom also. But the jury is the one that shoulders the responsibility of deciding if the defendant is guilty or if they're innocent, or if the government's allowed to punish them or if they're not. And the reason that the group of people who aren't educated in the law are responsible for deciding punishment is because morality is supposed to be greater than legality. The jury is there to make the moral decision, not the legal decision. Now, sometimes the moral decision and the legal decision will line up, but anytime you're faced with a case with a victimless crime, then the moral decision and the legal decision don't line up. If the defendant hasn't caused an injured party, then there's nobody has the moral authority to punish that person. And so the idea with the license plates is, even if it does get to the point to where some of us go to court, we need to understand the power of jury nullification. And so if you're in court because you're driving around without a driver's license, take a trial by jury. And then we only need 1 out of 12 jurors to say not guilty. In order to punish somebody, you need a unanimous verdict. And so with a very small percent, less than 10% of a jury, we can start setting each other free. We can start regulating the tyrannical government, because if the juries won't convict, then the legislation don't mean shit. You know what I mean? To try and rhyme a little bit like Derek there. And so the idea is, if we can hone in on the power of jury nullification and understand that for whatever reason that mechanism was left in the system to allow us to peacefully regulate a tyrannical government. And so the reason why why I chose the license plate avenue is because you're committing a crime, and a lot of people have expressed a lot of fear to me over driving around without a license plate. And I tell them, first off, like, the fear you're expressing is an acknowledgement of the level of tyranny under which we exist. And so because you're afraid of it, you have to admit that it's tyrannical, because driving around without a license plate isn't inherently wrong. But fortunately, in the legal system, it's not. It also doesn't come with huge penalties. You're not looking at 20 years in jail. This is the safest, easiest, best way for us to push back. And the other key component. Sorry, Sheena,
Keep going. I'm sorry for cutting in.
The other key component is that it's decentralized. You can have a peaceful protest of say 1,500 people, but then 200 police officers in riot gear are going to bring the violence to those people, because those people are centralized, and the government's very good at dealing with centralized issues. I mean, look at on all the college campuses right now across America. The police are coming down on these students that are protesting. If those students were able to protest decentralized, there would be no target for them to go after. When you're encountering a police officer that's in riot gear, they are so deep into groupthink and into team play. And I'm going to be like the other guys that are wearing my costume, that it's almost impossible to reach the humanity of that officer. But when you're decentralized and you're now only facing one-on-one with an officer, then you can really, you have a better opportunity at reaching the humanity of the person wearing the police costume. And I'm already going out there. I haven't paid the DMV since 2018. I have a license plate on my car, but the registration's long since expired. I don't have a driver's license. I don't have auto insurance. On my Instagram page, my top 2 pinned videos are my most recent pullovers, and in neither time did I get arrested or my car get impounded or did I get beat up or anything like that. So I'm trying to go out there and show, like, there is a peaceful way forward. There is a way that we can move together, and the more of us that do it, the less fear that we have to have about it. And this is just the action that I see that could take us to, the next step of just moving humanity on to a world where we take the responsibility of our own lives back onto ourselves.
SteVAN, I'm sorry for butting in, but I mean, if we don't do this, the smart cities are going to do it for us. The 15-minute cities are already rolling in. And how are they going to track us and find us is through our license plates. So if we want true freedom, I mean, I don't know what it's like in America or in France, but here in England, they are rolling out the 15-minute cities. People are already getting fines. Banks accounts are already getting impacted and closed. So without that license, you're also combating the the smart cities that are impending right now.
And all the toll booths, all the toll road. Yeah.
So I'm going to open up the stage to Fred and Derek. I mean, Derek, we did get your feedback last week, but Fred, what are your thoughts on this idea?
Well, you're not going to like me.
I bet I will.
I'm against government because government is slavery. So I'm not gonna. For me, get your license plates out is like what Canadians did during the convoy. It's useless. It's useless because people were took the road. They gave tax to government. They burned gas for nothing. And what happened? Nothing happened. So I'm more of for me, anarchy is the absence of government. It's not minarchist. It's not libertarian. It's not voluntarist. It's complete abolition of government. Every government, every religion. So I'm more of a extremist on my part. There's many actions like that happen here in Quebec. Some people were just like gassing and putting $1, $2, and things like that, and so much useless, so much energy wasted for that. I would like to see people get smarter, about their rights and what it means to be responsible, a responsible adult in the world. And sure, you're right about that, SteVAN. Children, and things like that we need to educate the children. I'm 100% in agreeing with that. Well, I have 4 children and they're homeschooled. So this is where we're starting, the family unit, and give and words are words. Actions are talking by themselves. So we have to get over this minarchist context. We talked about it with Derek on my last podcast, and I've been very vitriolic about it. I do not see any resolving by using the system against the system. It's a logical fallacy right into that. So I mean, it's my humble opinion. Do I have all the solutions? No, I don't have them. But I have the foundation. And if we're not enough, if we don't obtain critical mass with this knowledge, it's not going to happen. There's going to be conflicts. There's going to be fire and blood. This is what will happen. This is what happened years ago during all the revolution. We don't need a revolution. We need evolution. This is what we need. Revolution is garbage. It killed thousands, millions of the life of people, the millions of lives. So much things has been tried. Communism, socialism. Giving people back their power. It's all garbage. It's all lies. It's all lies. You know why? Because government is slavery. It's violence. Voting as such is one of the most fucking violent thing that you can do.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So anarchy for me is no master, no slave. I don't want to deal with them because they're criminals, because they're violent, because they have no fucking souls. They're soulless, garbage people. I don't want to deal with them. I want them completely. I want abolitionism. This is what I want. I want complete eradication of all government.
So, go ahead, Sheena.
Sorry, Fred. I love how sharp you are with the word anarchy, and I don't have any rulers either. But in that process, I have had to give up the tools and the toys that they offer us. So here I'm in England. I'm not driving. I'm not using any of their tools. I'm not using their petrol or their cars. So I don't have to apply for a license or drive. So I've reorganized myself so that my consciousness is pure and that I don't have any masters. For the people that have to drive, are you saying that we continue to pay our dues and we continue to support the system in that way, or are you just saying go and just do what you need to do and learn the law?
I'm not to respond to your answer, and I mean, this is my humble opinion. I'm not telling people to believe anything that I'm saying, but if people were mature enough and they were educated enough, we didn't have to deal with that. We could keep all this stuff that we have now. We can still use petrol and gas and all these things. We're not gonna miss any gas anytime soon. Okay, because this is the fucking blood of the earth, and earth is big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, there's so much scarcity, mind control. People are scared of death, scared of freedom, scared of chaos, scared of everything. So I mean, we can have what we have now. And I'm not saying that it's the best solution there. I agree with SteVAN with that. Sovereignty, people have their own responsibility. This is why we're fighting for. But if we want to keep that, we have to be smarter. There's gonna be still administrating needed for society, but it's not gonna be politicians. It's not gonna be bankers. It's gonna be self-regulated with the people. And this is my vision of it. We have a pseudo-voluntarist cooperating society. Does anarchy means that we're gonna fall into complete chaos? It's not a guarantee. It's not gonna happen. But we have chaos right now.
Yeah. So, Fred, if I let me respond there.
Sure.
I'm with you. I'm in a complete abolitionist of government, because government's only an idea, and it's a shit idea, and it's caused so much pain and suffering and war and global death. I'm with you that I'm an abolitionist, and I'm with you that I don't want to engage with these people at all. And so this is why I don't go to the DMV. This is why I don't have a driver's license. But because of their nature, they're going to come after me.
Sure.
Because when I drive down the road, and so I want a mechanism of defense. in that. And it's not that I want to go out and use the system against the system, because you're right that it's like people that want to run for political office to think that they're going to change it from the inside. That's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. But when the system does come after us, then what are we supposed to do? I ignore the government out of existence. I am sovereign because I don't ask permission to live my life, because I don't pay fees to use my own property, because but I also recognize that system doesn't like that, and that those people will come after me. It's like playing Monopoly with a bully that won't let you quit.
Yep.
And
Yes.
and so I'm trying to quit the game, and
Yes.
I think a lot of us want to quit the game, and I'm with you too on the protest where people go, oh, let's not buy gas on Monday. Well, it's like, well, you're just going to buy twice as much on Tuesday. You're not doing anything there. But if you just go out and you just go, okay, I'm no longer ever going to the DMV again. Well, you're not inconveniencing your own life, because you still go about your normal day, because we are going to use the roads. We are going to use cars. We do need to go and be productive with our lives, because we're all wanting to make sure that we can feed ourselves. But what we need to do is go out there and be productive without having a portion of the fruits of our labor being taken from us. And so society will form hierarchies, but I'm with you, Fred. Those hierarchies need to be based on voluntary interactions. And as soon as somebody says, hey, your system's no longer serving me, I'm going to withdraw my efforts and go put it toward a system that better reflects my values. And so the stage I'm in right now is saying, let's withdraw our efforts. Let's withdraw our efforts from the government, because all these wars that are being waged is because collectively we're funding it. So how do we collectively unfund it? And just like all of us had an awakening process. You didn't just wake up and all of a sudden understand liberty on the level that you do today when you woke up that first day. It's a process to get there. And so to me, the idea of removing the license plates is to show people we don't need government. I'm a firm believer that when everybody takes their license plates off, we'll actually see less accidents, less reckless driving, less hit and runs, because when people start acting responsibly, they act responsibly. It sounds stupid to say it out loud, but it's this idea that people miss out on. People think everyone's so irresponsible, we have to have a system of force in place to keep us in line. But it's like, well, irresponsible people are running that system of force, and that's never going to work well. It's never going to be a net positive for humanity. People, like you said, Fred, we want to evolve, not we need evolution, not revolution. I agree with you. When people tell me all the time, oh, we got to get back to the Constitution, I go, no, we need to evolve beyond the Constitution. We need to get back to the natural laws of human interaction. We're animals of this earth, and so we have ingrained within us the way we're supposed to interact with each other. You go look at a pack of dogs, they don't have a single law written down, but they all know what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to behave. And it's the same with us. Even those who do wrong know that they're doing wrong, because they don't want the same behavior taken or action taken against them.
Can I just chime in there? You're right, though, about needing defense or a defense task force, because we're exiting and building a new reality. And the people at the realm are psychopathic, sociopathic, narcissistic, murdering thieves. And they express themselves through the authority of the police. And I've had my run-ins. I've been pulled over 3 times. The first time was with a breathalyzer test, and I almost got arrested. The second time was they took my licenses off, and the third time I almost got my car, and you have one-on-one conversations with these men or women in costumes. And unless we have some sort of defense backup plan where, we peacefully hold there and call somebody, and we get a whole group of people with badges and costumes as well to defend our safety, because we one-on-one, we're going to be outnumbered with the gun. And they even sometimes have they're now, whether it's a pulling over on a car, whether it's your home being repossessed, whether it's a kid and a divorce, we have got the authority holding the gun that can take away your assets and make your life very uncomfortable. how do we diffuse that power that they have, which is real, very real power? They can take away your home, they can take away your children, they can take away your car, because we're defenseless here.
I mean, in UK, I think you cannot have any weapons anymore, aren't
No.
you?
And same thing in Australia as well.
Yeah. So
Et en France, oui.
yeah, slavery is it's absolute where you're living. Here in Canada, we still have this right. You know, it's not gonna be get away. It's not be taken away anytime soon.
Mhm.
You know, because there's a lot of people who are defending, not as passionate as Americans, but there's still people who are fighting for this rights, for these rights. So yeah, I mean our defense is our responsibility.
Mhm.
You know, you
Mm.
have to defend your own body and your body, and if you have children and you have a family and you have a relative, it's our responsibility to take care of them with the amount of force that is going to be needed to stop it.
That's a good point.
Because
Well,
this fucking sorry, I don't want to swear, I don't know if I can, but
Go to talk whatever you want.
so I mean if you have and the problem, and I want to talk about this because I think it's important, the degeneration of men into society. So you have ballless, cowardly men now, like they're feminized, they're apathic, are apathetic. I'm wrong about that, but I mean people don't fucking care.
Mhm.
And this is what I mean what the great work is all about, is to make people care again and care about themselves, and uh, uh, how to behave into a society. You know, we can talk about utopias all day, and wishing and having good intentions, but you know, you cannot, it's like, let me tell you something. When you're talking about these people, you know, Mark Bassio's called them the dead, you know, and these people, these sheep, you know, they're totally giving doing us a disservice. But what I want to say is that when you're doing the great work, it's like vaccinating the dead. You're trying to make you try to make the immunity of a dead person. It's like you're trying to raise this dead guy up. It's like coming, you know, I'm gonna have a lot of good intention, you know, and I'm gonna make the dead rise again. It's not gonna happen, you know. We're gonna have to put our energy elsewhere. Yeah, sure, if we can you know, have more people, more adults, you're gonna wake up. I'm putting them in quotes there because it's a subject for an all other discussion.
yeah.
But this whole thing is, it's a mess.
Mm.
It's a mess, and we have to be honest about it, you know, and not like telling lies to ourselves, you know. Oh, we're gonna, you know, we're gonna fight the government tomorrow, and everything's gonna be fine. It's lies. It's illusory, you know. It's lying to yourself and lying to the people around you. So
Mm.
there's things that we have to acquire, and I mentioned it in the beginning. We have to acquire certain fundamental knowledge
Mhm.
to get this train on the track, if I can use this expression. So we're not even on the track, you know. When
Mm.
I'm speaking metaphorically, the train, it's not there again, you know, already. So we have to inform people, give them down to earth solutions for their betterment, and when they're gonna know their rights, their natural rights, when they're gonna know about natural law and morality, and right and wrong, and good and evil. When
Yeah.
people will understand that, I mean, the train will be on the track, but I mean, we're in the fucking, we're in the field, you know, the fucking train is right out, you know.
Yeah, if I can piggyback on that real quick, yeah, I like that analogy, Fred. And yeah, like the tracks are there to, you know, direct us towards the right path. You know, the path, you know, natural law, sovereignty, those types of things that a lot of people gives lip service to, but you know, there's a lack of understanding and action behind those things. Sometimes it's a whole clusterfuck of consciousness, right? We all know this, and yeah, like I think I mentioned this last time I chatted with both of you, SteVAN and Sheena, in regards to like the total yeah clusterfuck of entanglement that, you know, society has each individual, you know, entrapped under. And yeah, in America, I know like the whole thing with insurance is absolutely fucking absurd. Like holy shit. And even like the DMV, like you said, like that's great, SteVAN, you're able to just, you know, brush that shit aside. You know, like a lot of people find that like really intimidating or menacing and like such a thorn in their side, and like, hey, just pluck it out and leave it the fuck alone, I guess. And is that
Ignore
what
it.
you're saying? Yeah. But you know, with this whole Gordian knot situation, it's on a multinational thing. I mean, there's the UN that we really need to consider, and they seem to be ramping things up with the whole digital banking, whatever the fuck. And there's always been the monetary banking system behind shit that's funding wars and all this other stuff. And yeah, the what, the World Hell Organization, that shit. Oh yeah, and the World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab. What the fuck? Anyway, so Fred, one of our favorite truth speaking women out there, Maria West, as she always likes to say, there is a way for us to waltz in and out of the matrix. And I think, SteVAN, like what you're alluding to and what you're doing is really great. And I can see that applied. And, you know, these are little steps. I mean, like, yeah, of course, like I would love to just take the Excalibur and slice the fucking Gordian knot in half like it should be, you know, if we're talking about, you know, this whole parasitic governmental system. And yeah, parasite, we got to kill the fucking parasite or starve it out at least. But, you know, like we're still suffering during it's starving, you know, last moments, and it's going to throw death blows as well. So yeah, the politics, right? You know, we talked about that one with Fred. Shit. The multifaceted blood-sucking vampire that's, you know, looshing the fuck out of our life force energy, financial stuff, and all these things. So reclaiming sovereignty, we really have to understand what this is all about and how government is claiming ownership over our bodies, whether it be through taxation, claiming, you know, whatever percentage of our labors and yada yada, whether they have whatever fucking justification for it, that, you know, like way beyond roads and all that stuff, right? Healthcare, and, you know, in France, you know, we're all this stuff, and oh my god, the healthcare, we're just, you know, giving a lot of taxpayer money so the pharmaceutical companies can, you know, give out like 3 times the needed prescription, so big pharma, you know, gets fattened up in the background. Like what the fuck? Yeah, free healthcare is fucking costly as fuck. And yeah, it's kind of, yeah, y'all got something similar there in Canada.
Yep.
Or in Canada, Fred, but yeah.
Yeah, it's broken.
Well, it's working exactly as it was intended to work.
Yes,
you know,
there you go.
And I tell people all the time, you have 100% access to free healthcare because your healthcare is everything that you consume, whether that be what you're reading, what you're listening to, or what you're eating. So if you want to get healthier, then look at what you're consuming, because that's what's making you sick. You know.
Yep.
That's a good point, that it's working exactly as it should. Every single thing in this situation, it's not corrupt. It hasn't gone rogue. I mean, hello, folks. This is a planned attack on humanity. We have to get ourselves out of this mess by recognizing the art of war and really, really deeply understanding that, yeah, we've been conned. We've been conned. And this is the art of war. So think of everybody as a warrior. And that's not to spread fear, but, you know, if they can have war in Palestine and invaders go into their foreign land, their land, and kick them out of their homes, I mean, why can't that happen to us? Why can't that same darkness be on our doorstep? And that's what I want everyone to really, I mean, we've got some of the COVID people who have just gone back to work and they're having parties and everybody's like having fun, and our problems are just getting worse. So,
well, people are distracted. The Rome never fell, and the tactic of the Colosseum is now in our pockets. And people are distracted with
Streaming
sports
live
and
in a million platforms now. Holy shit, people are distracted as fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And that's a big part of their plan to keep us not unified, is to keep us all distracted and pointing our energy in the wrong places. Fred, you mentioned, you said something about we need to put our efforts into better areas. And to me, that's again, every time that you apply for a license or pay the government, you're putting your efforts into government. And so again, I'm right there with you as a complete abolitionist of government, is to go, I'm not going to put my effort over into the government camp anymore. Only when they come for me is when I'll respond to them.
I mean, there's always two sides to a medal, and I think it's a great point, Stephen, about that. And I'm not ashamed of paying for my license. Why? Because I have responsibilities. If I cannot do my everyday thing, I cannot do this work.
Right.
If I can't walk on both sides at the same time, I'm not gonna be able to do my work. So Derek, on the One Great Work Warriors, they talk about compromise and sacrifice, and this is what we're talking about. And this is important, to stay very objective and being logic about what we're doing with our time and what we partake in. And it's very difficult in the context of self-responsibility when it comes to take care of children and take care of the elderly people. And we're all responsible for that. And our responsibility is to keep this this beautiful cooperation, this beautiful symbiosis of people. And sadly, for now, this is what we have to do. We have to compromise. We have to do sacrifices for the betterment of humanity. And at least this world is gonna get better if people are conscious about it and being truthful about these things. I'm not saying that that's an obligation. Nobody is forced to do it. Okay, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ideology behind it. Because essentially, freedom is an idea. Okay, we never seen freedom. Let's be truthful about it. Let's be honest about this. Freedom is an idea. If we cannot keep this idea alive, then no, our work is useless.
Also, Fred, I understand you've got 4 children. You don't want to rock the boat. I don't think I would have been able to do what I did in terms of stretching my power to the matrix. I kind of lost my daughter in that whole process because I stretched my muscle. So I do understand why you choose your battles and you want to keep your family safe. And we've got one foot in the old world and one foot in the new world. And yes, you need to do this work. You need to raise the consciousness of the people. We all do, so that we can create brand new systems. We can't just sit here and just talk about it. But this time that we have, with one foot in, whilst we're paying our license, and I don't pay tax or anything, but we do need to be thinking of new ways of evolving, so that we're not trapped in. We're not going to have anything if we don't move past the consciousness that we're in. That was just one point, and then I would like to ask your opinion. Like, I have created my life to where I'm on a farm, I'm not driving, and it's kind of like, okay, now what? Do you think that that's over the top? Like, do you think I should go and like don't worry about your energy or consciousness? Get your license, do those things, or do you think I'm at least doing a little bit of an imprint on clearing that consciousness that needs to be gone?
You asked it to me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
anyone. Like, I kind of feel like I'm taking one for the team, but do
Well,
you think it's worth it? Like, do you think I'm over the top in
how much do
having?
you care?
I care a lot.
That's it. How much
Yeah.
do you care?
I mean, if you go to bed at night going, "Hey, I'm living authentically to my belief system," then you're winning the game of life.
Yeah.
We have a million different strategies as to how we should move forward here. And like Fred, we can see that you and I disagree on some of the tactics, but the important thing is I think that you and I would make great neighbors because
Mm.
we have so much of the same foundation that we could coexist together without having to incorporate a third party stealing from both of us in order for us to coexist. And part of the anarchy movement. So anarchy can't be tried, right? I agree that freedom's an idea, but anarchy is a force of nature because anarchy means there's no rulers. And so if there's no rulers, that explicitly means self-ownership. And every organism on this planet has self-ownership. And so ideas can be tried, but anarchy, is a force of nature. But if we want to get the best ideas out there, we need a lot of people trying a lot of different ideas. And as ideas start to be tried, when we remove the application of force to regulate an idea, then people will naturally gravitate toward the best ideas. And an overwhelming majority of us believe that the best ideas are mutually beneficial, right? Because we do live in a world of abundance. You talked about scarcity a little bit ago, Fred. Scarcity is bullshit. Scarcity is manufactured, and we live in a world of abundance. In a world of scarcity, all games have to be zero sum. Somebody will lose and somebody will win. But in a world of abundance, all games can be co-op. We can all win. We can all have more. We live in this weird world where you can actually produce more than what you take. And if everybody produced more than what we took, then so much of the traumas that have caused, where we're at in society would fall by the wayside, because we would in a world of abundance, we learn emotional maturity. We learn how to interact with others, properly and justly, so to say.
Yeah, I talked about that a lot on the Libercast actually when it comes to solutions, and I completely agree with you. I'm not considering that we're not. I think we're in the same page here. I
Yeah.
don't see any conflicts or something like that. I think every opinion needs to be heard. Everybody has its own experience, and I think we're all growing up a lot from that, from these interpersonal relationships. And yeah, and about the solutions, it's very basic. It's very easy to create abundance because it's common sense.
Mm.
There's so much way to produce food, even here in Canada when we're freezing our ass up. There's still ways to grow food and abundantly, and create this abundance domino effect all around. You're generating in every, let's say, in every village or cities or small places. Everyone is creating their own abundance, their own food. Then abundance will spread.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when the abundance will spread, it means that criminality will go down. There's a lot of things there's gonna be diminishing with the years. So you have all these people who have access to shelter and food and cooperation and a job if they want to work. We don't have to force anyone to work. But if you were talking about food production, and you get the children there, and you get the elderly people, it's a very healthy place to be when you're into a group of people, a community. It's a beautiful way to do it. It's creating abundance. And I think people are just fucking dumb, too dumb to just realize that this simple truth of abundance mindset.
So I would argue with the semantics about them being dumb. I think they're brainwashed. The world is so abundant. The system,
Dumbed down, I
the
guess.
system has to pump trillions, so much effort into keeping us believing in scarcity because of how abundant we are. I know I was brainwashed for a while in my youth. That's for sure. Sorry, Derek, I cut you off.
Oh no worries. I just wanted to say real quick it's exactly what I wanted to speak on, as far as what you said. Like, and I think it's kind of threw it out there last talk, like, hey, it takes a village, right, and this and that. Like, hey, we're all in different countries right now. That's pretty cool. Pretty eclectic group chat, and I appreciate it. And but no matter wherever we pretty much are on the map, we're still walking on either stolen or conquered grounds. And so yeah, we've been uprooted from like that ancient ancestral way of life where there was unity in that community, and the children were looked on as like very valuable, and people took that shit seriously and had proper responsibility about it, and all the elderly were taken good care of. They didn't have to worry about 401k, whatever the fuck today, that shit, right? So yeah, like priorities, like
Gentlemen, this has been such a powerful chat. I'm going to end it here, seeing that we're at 111. Unless there are any final thoughts, I mean, maybe I just go around and just give your final thoughts and your information so people can connect with you. I've linked your names onto this video. But yeah, I would like to request to have another chat in a few weeks' time to talk about something else that I've been researching over the last few days. But this has been such a great chat. It went a little bit different than I had expected, but it went better than I expected. And Fred, I'm just so grateful to have your power. It's I can feel it through the screen. I can feel all of you guys. And I'm just so grateful to have this time to chat. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you for making it happen.
Yes.
You decided to get involved, and every little thing are important, and this is, I mean, how much time do you have? Because I can talk all day about this.
Me too.
But I just to finish it and be say my last comment there, and I want to bring back people to self-awareness and self-responsibility and things like that. I think is the one of the basic things that we need to get back to is our self-responsibility, and as humans, as brothers and sisters in the world, I consider everyone my brothers and sisters. You don't have to love your brothers and sisters, you have to respect them. Respect their path and where they're at, and it's important to be having empathy with people and getting involved. You don't have to do podcasts, you don't have to do like mixes of music or things like that. You can get involved into the community and helping elderly people, children, gathering food, shelter, clothing, and helping the people who are really in need. I have the chance to be in an abundance I have in my life. I don't complain, but I give a lot. I give my time, and I'm doing it with all my heart. And if everybody, and I just want to call the people, it's men.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you're doing, man, the guys, but we fucking need you.
Yeah.
We need men who's gonna be getting involved. There's a lot of women who are following the Libercast, and I know Derek is. I know you. I'm sure you know that there's a lot of women who are into the freedom community and the truth community, and we need more men.
Because that's
We
where
need
they're at.
more true men.
That's what they're asking, right? Where's all the real men or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Step it up, fellas. Come on.
It's important to stay objective, and let's put aside all these chicanery, these little problem that we have, these fucking worthless arguments that we have, and just work on the same page as anarchists and truth lovers and truth community, if there's such thing as, because I doubt it. I think it has been exploded, and we have to work to unite people together, and leave this crap behind us, and working with and putting our energy at the good place. And to finish with that, I'm the host of the Libercast. I'm on YouTube, Odyssey, and Facebook. It's a bilingual podcast, so it's French and English, and it's about the occult, mind control, morality, and other things that I cover with my beautiful guests on the show. So see you there.
Awesome. Yay. Derek, over to you. We haven't heard much from you, but
Oh, it's all good. I always enjoy listening, and yeah, Fred, this is the first time you've spoken with Sheena in a recording, so yeah, I prefer priorities. But no. I'm kind of joking, but I say that in that tone just because, yeah, like going back to what I finished last time, like, yeah, we have to really focus on priorities, and those who know more than average and are aware to these things, awaken, whatever the hell people want to call it. And sometimes it's too semantical and people want to virtue signal that shit. I'm so, fed up looking at that stuff. But yeah, like, just people really got to ask themselves, like, all right, what am I actually doing? What am I focusing my intention and energy towards? And what am I doing in the reality that's either perpetuating problems in the world, or, diminishing them, or whatever, like subtracting yourself out of that fucking formula, like it's a pretty basic formula. I mean, Chris Nelson, Fred, a lot of folks, Mark Passio, he might have been the one that made this formula. It seems so simple, of just like the increase of objective morality within, individuals, creates more freedom for everyone. So it's like, hey, it's so simple. But yeah, again, with the Gordian knot and all this stuff, and like, yeah, things are systematically from the infrastructure up, the hierarchical chains of command and control and all that stuff. So yeah, it can be daunting to, like, oh, how can I go up against the system? Well, just, yeah, remove yourself from it first, and like take a big step back, try to see it for what it is, see yourself for what you are, really, go through that alchemical process again and again, right? Chill in that hermit mode, whatever it takes, right? And yeah, come back. And yeah, Stephen, I love what you said about how anarchy is a force in nature, or of nature. This is, freedom, sovereignty. This is supposed to be our natural state. So we're just trying to reclaim our sovereignty, right? So why does the government have to come knocking on our doors and shit like that? Just fucking around. But anyways, just to finish off, yeah, AwakenYaMind, that's my moniker. I'm on like 12 different platforms at this point. I do musical mixes, mashups, and all that stuff, all conscious oriented, going around the whole spectrum of, what people go through on a spiritual awakening, and like, yeah, getting out of the muck and mire of, mass media and all that stuff, what society's feeding you, and the social conditioning and the whole fucking nine, on a multidimensional level, of course. And yeah, that's fucking cliche today, but yeah, it ain't all about that new agey shit. So yeah, streetwise spiritual stuff. And I got my own videos, Dissolving the Divide, as well, with Leslie Powers, where we try to counteract the divide and conquer tactics, one subject at a time, one video at a time. And voila, I'll finish off with that little rhyme. Yeah, AwakenYaMind. Thank you for your time.
I love the F-bombs, by the way. I just love it. Stephen, over to you. Final thoughts.
Oh,
we don't have a website yet, but we'll get you one.
Fred, it was great to meet you. I enjoyed hearing your perspective. Derek, it was great to see you again. And Sheena, of course, you too. Thanks for putting this all together. And, really, really for people who ask, like, how do you, what's the first step you take? What's the first step you take to liberty and independence? And Fred hit the nail on the head earlier. Is there's no independence if you don't have food independence. And so find one thing that you can do to go, I'm gonna secure my own food supply, at least one thing, plant one tomato plant, and that will grow. Because the more you do that kind of stuff, the more abundance you're going to produce, and the freer world we will all collectively be. Because it's hard to be the only free man on a slave plantation. And so we need more and more of us to stand up together and just go, hey, we're done being stolen from, and start seeing government for what it is. Because government's just an idea. Then you gotta look at it as, oh my God, I'm being stolen from. It's a criminal activity. And just as much as I would resist a mugger in a back alley, I'm gonna resist the government and not pay them either. So yeah, anyway, thanks for having me.
You guys are great.
Hey, Derek, you didn't talk about Awaken Your Mind.
Oh, I mean, a little bit, yeah. I mean, the conscious music and all that jazz, yeah. If you want me to rewind, I could take a little bit more time, but yeah, I just went over that scheme already, like.
We'll put your links in the chat. We do have quite a few people in the chat that have made a lot of great comments. We also have SteVAN's the model anarchist. He's got quite a few followers, 56, 65, 1,000.
I just broke 60
on Instagram. And so you guys all together, we're doing great work, and I'm so proud of us. And I wouldn't want to be around anybody else but you guys right now. So thank you guys. Thanks audience for joining us and sticking around. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Much love. Much respect. Thank you.